There are four brainwave states. Beta is the conscious mind. Alpha is the creative and meditative mind. Theta is the dreaming mind. And delta is where the higher self is.
Elevate your mind until you're taken to another place. If you seek, you'll find it, then levitate to a higher state. Move past the negativity and let's erase the hate. Embracing whatever will come along as fade away.
Transcendental meditation. I'm sat in a temple trying to reach man's potential, practicing the active mental elevation. Black candles emanating a white light, mind sight. Vision in the prism as I'm writing, my eyes are wide open. I close and my focus on the inner being. Sit and listen to the voice of the spirit, reasoning, exercising the inner demons, transcending the spiritual pain, battling negative energy, standing on the physical plane, cleansing my aura, astral traveling the ethereal train, channeling the mystical phoenix has risen, living again, distinguishing the flames of a burning desire, circle of fire, singing hymns but not the kind for your church choir. See your work for a higher force, inspired by the Lord like Elijah, formed in the sky. I was born in the eye of the storm, born to the false messiah, and the real devil in all liars. The truth lies inside the seek and you'll find her.
Peace. Let's begin. Proof of the eternal. Now, when I say eternal, I do not mean something that is everlasting in time. That is not what eternal means. Eternal simply means that which is ever present, unborn, never dies, no beginning, no end. This is what eternal means. So for something to be ever present, it must be present always in all situations. So let's see if we can prove it. Now, for the spiritually minded, I will not get into spiritual quotes because at the essence of spirituality is really science. And so I have people from the science community that listens. And so we will strictly deal with observation and reason to see if something eternal exists. Now, to begin with, I want to start with a template that will help you grasp the concepts and the analogies moving forward, or the reasoning moving forward. So right now, there's a picture on the screen. And if I ask you, do you see the trees? What would your response be? Your response would be no. I see no trees. All I see is nothing or blackness. And it's similar if you're walking in the middle of the country somewhere and it's pitch black, and I asked you, do you see the trees off in the distance? You would also say no. Why is that? It's because there is nothing to contrast the tree from what is not tree. So, by your own reason and perception, you would say, no, you do not see the tree, because there must always be something to contrast. So if I asked you now, do you see the tree? You would say, yes, I see the tree. Why? Because there is a contrast, something that is not tree behind it that can illuminate what is tree. So you have a measurement of something that is different from that which is tree, to measure what is a tree from what is not a tree. There must be a contrast to notice what is tree and what is not tree. So understand this moving forward. Now, in the 6th century BC, there was a Greek philosopher named Heraclitus who made an interesting quote. He says that change itself is the only constant in the world. Similarly, in the I Ching, written by Chinese sages, somewhere in the between the 9th century and the 3rd century BC. The I Ching, which is the Book of Changes, also states that change itself is the only constant phenomenon of the universe. So say, okay, hypothetically, we accept the view of Heraclitus in the I Ching, that change is the only constant. Ask yourself, or tell me, who or what is it that witnesses this change or this flux? Against what? Against what background, as I made the template of the trees? Against what background is change appearing as change and not as stationary or static? If you have two cars going down the freeway at the same speed, they will appear stationary because they are both moving at the same speed. So a perception of motion requires a comparison with a motionless object in order to know motion, because if both are in motion at the same speed, they appear still. Just like if the tree and its background are the same color, they will not be observed. So who or what is it that observes change? A perception of change requires a changeless subject or object to measure it. Who or what is that? Who or what makes the claim that nothing is permanent and everything changes? What is the reference point? Against what are we judging that the world is constantly changing? See, I agree that what one perceives and what one sees is fleeting. The manifold world of material and mental elements that coexist together, and everything we call world is momentary, it's fleeting, it's not permanent. That's observed. We observe the changing of phenomena. But for one to say that everything is change, how do we perceive change? See, if both the perceived object and the perceiver change, then there would be no connection to anything in life. We cannot say that there is change if everything changes. If the perceived object and the perceiver change, there would be no notice of change. Everything would appear still, or as the template was black, nothing. There would be no observation. It would remain static. So who is the spectator of change? What is it? There has to be one. There has to be a changeless to observe change. This is what in spirituality is called the eternal essence, or the ground of existence, which is at the foundation, which cannot be reduced, which is the foundation of everything, and from which the whole world and all the objects of change arise. Who is that witness? So many in the scientific mind will say, well, if there is a witness, who or what is witnessing that witness to know the witness exists? See, they believe there must be an infinite regress to infinity. But there is no logical need for something to perceive the perceiver. The perceiver stands self-proved. Because the perceiver not only perceives the change, whatever perceives the change also perceives itself. There is nothing beyond it to perceive it, because it is the perceiver of not only change but itself. What is that? So for one to make the claim that everything changes, there has to be a relative plane of changelessness to perceive it, to measure, to say there is change. Because if you change with the change, no change is observed. Who or what is that? In order to notice change, there must be something to contrast the change, a reference point for which change is observed, or else it wouldn't be noticeable. In order to know change, there must be a changeless witness. In order to know time, there must be a timeless witness. In order to know limits, there must be a limitless witness. In order to know the temporal, there must be an eternal witness. In order to know dimensions, there must be a dimensionless witness. In order to know boundaries, there must be a boundless witness. In order to know measurements, there must be a measureless witness. In order to know names, there must be a nameless witness. In order to know forms, there must be a formless witness. In order to know birth and death, there must be a witness beyond both of those. In order to know locations, there must be a locationless witness. All these attributes that are seen in the world, that which perceives it must not be those things. All these attributes, limitless, nameless, formless, boundless, dimensionless, all apply to that which knows them. Who or what is it? Because it must exist by reason. There must be a contrast to them to have a reference point to know that they exist. Or else they wouldn't be known. Just as in the template in the beginning, the trees cannot be known unless there is a contrast to it. Who is that? You need to find out who or what that is, because that is the eternal. Notice that all we know of the world, of body, of mind, is perceptions, sensations, feelings, and thoughts. That's all we know of experience, all we know of life. All we know of a mind, body, and world is perceptions, sensations, feelings, and thoughts. And notice that all of those are in constant flux. They are constantly changing. And notice that all experience is attended by the experience of being aware of it. What is the perceiver, the grasper of it? And this grasper or perceiver or knower of the change of perception, sensations, feelings, and thoughts is the common factor in all experience. It is always present. See, what happens is we are so enchanted by the objective content of experience, meaning our thoughts, feelings, sensations, and perceptions, that we overlook the simple experience of the perceiver, the one who is aware of the change. And the common name for the perceiver, the one who is aware of the change, the common name for the experience of that perceiver, the one that is aware, is I. See, I am aware of the change. I am aware of my thoughts. I am aware of my perceptions. I am aware of my sensations and feelings. So the I that is aware of the thoughts, perceptions, thus I, who am aware of those, am not a thought or perception. Notice that whatever this is that I am cannot be a thought, cannot be a perception, cannot be a sensation or a feeling, because it is aware of those. And notice that this perceiver, or what we call I, is the background of all changing experience. It is the constant that gives, it is that eternal, whatever it is, that gives the appearing world its consistency. It's not that the world is consistent. Whatever knows the world is always. That's why the world appears to go in a stream of consistency. Notice that the I that perceives all the change never changes, although everything we are aware of changes. Similar to a beaded necklace. If you had a beaded necklace, every bead is a different color. What gives that beaded necklace its continuity, its consistency? The beads are changing, the colors are changing, but it's the thread that is within, the unseen thread that is within the beads that give it its consistency, that makes it one. In the same way, there is a background that gives all the fleeting perceptions, feelings, thoughts, and sensations their continuity. And that background is always present, never is not. Come to know that, and you will know the eternal. And you will not know it as an object, because you are it. Peace.